Okay, on today's video we are going to cover targeting review keywords. Basically, somebody who types in a keyword related to your brand and then the word keyword, or excuse me, review or reviews after it, with the intention, obviously, or if it wasn't obvious already, people looking for reviews on your product. I'm also covering people looking for reviews on your competitors' products. To be able to maximize your sales opportunity on this distinct, I'll call it channel, because there's so much there, and which people don't think of it as a channel, but I'll explain why and how much it can deliver for your business in actuality, how you can actually capitalize on that. So when you walk away from this video, you got an actual turnkey method to be able to make more money for your business. And regardless if you're e-commerce, non-e-commerce, whatever, business to business, non-business to business, with this lucrative 1000% plus ROI opportunity. A lot of people think of people that type in your brand name and then when they're looking for a review is just like a regular old brand campaign. No, brand campaign is somebody who already knows they're going to buy. If somebody's looking for a review, it should not be grouped together. That's the main thing that people get wrong when they're trying to establish some sort of strategy for capitalizing on this mini channel, in which they just don't even focus on this channel at all. They just leave it up, to God, if you will. Hopefully, when they type in looking for reviews, they find what they want and they come back to me. And I can tell you, if you wing it, you're losing a bunch of sales that you could have got otherwise if you create as controlled as possible environment / situation for that particular type of consumer than you would get it, if it was purely random. And depending on your current situation, how you manage your reputation, you'll get more or less sales. But regardless, you're going to get good sale, whatever sales you do get with my method here, 1000% ROI, like clockwork, and probably a lot, because most people aren't nearly optimized there as they could be. So I'll get into all of that, and I'll go through a quick background here about the method, and then how you're actually going to be able to use this, how to execute on it fully, what is the best way of doing it, things to avoid, and then some bonuses, all that, and what kind of results to expect. So anyway, first of all, while people inherently know they need to manage their quote-unquote reputation, the whole online reputation management space where you got to manage your reviews, basically. They know that they have to spend good money on that, and they do. And if you don't, by the way, you should. At least you don't need to really do much, but you still got to pay attention to it because it has such a great impact on whether or not you're going to make a little or a lot of money in your business long term. They'll spend a lot of time and effort managing their reputation. Also, when, ideally, not just when they type in your brand name on Google what they see, but when they type in your brand or product name or name of a service that you've had it coined a specific name, then review after it. So they're looking for reviews on a certain product or service or on your company in general. And then they'll spend big money on that, but they don't think about advertising in the top 4 spots on Google, advertising and controlling that space. They only think about the organic, okay? Very few see that as an opportunity. It is a very awesome opportunity that I'm going to explain how you capitalize here as well on this video and what this video is actually about in summary. Like I said, you actually run some ads for people looking for reviews. It'll get 1000% plus ROI. Similar to how other brand campaigns work for you right now, and even though that traffic's more qualified, as long as you do a pretty good job at what executing and what people see, you can't randomly have, again, people usually what they'll do is they'll just have a brand ad that says what your brand is. If they type in your brand name plus reviews, and then just send it back to the site, and that's barely going to get you anything. It's basically barely worth more than nothing. Okay, we'll just put it that way. Doing it, being deliberate about what you do, you can make a ton more money. Which is what this is about. So I'm going to go through the different options that you could use to capitalize on this opportunity, whether the variables and how to execute on it and how to actually get executed on it to get the most maximum amount of money from this possible in your market and for your specific company. So anyway, the first opportunity of 4 different opportunities, somebody types in your brand name plus review. So you're bidding on that term on Google so your ad shows up, okay? Or your brand name plus review. So in other words, plural or with an S at the end. Technically, one keyword would cover both, but respectively, those are the main things, right? That's going to get the most search volume, and respectively can be the biggest opportunity out of these 4 opportunities here. Now, one thing I want to let you know. So yes, if you run an ad and you send people to a certain page that I mentioned here in a moment, you will get 1,000% ROI on this ad typically, which is right out the gate. That's awesome, right? But what I do a lot of times here is, and what you should do, and probably will do if you end up ultra successful in PPC, is you run one type of new traffic source on Google or on some platform. It works. Or you weed out the 80% or so that's not that great. You leave the 20% where all the meat is, and then you move on to another technique and you do the same thing there. And then to another technique, and you keep going. So you start out with a budget of $1,000 a month, and now someday, 5 years later plus, you're at $100,000 a month, and you're still making that same return you had when you started out. That's how I build most of our campaigns up, and the people that you see dominating PPC in your space, they all started small, generally speaking. They didn't show up where they are, okay? They went through a process like I described, but roughly speaking, that's about how it works for most people. So anyway, what I'll do, instead of just looking at the leading data in the ad account that says if an ad works or not, there's a lot of things you do that will influence whether or not somebody who clicked on an ad earlier, whether they buy or not. And this is one of which is very, very much included in that category. So yes, people who click on your ad that shows up for your brand name plus review, and then you'll get 1,000% ROI on that. What it's even more valuable doing a lot of times, more than half of the time I would say, really in reality, is it gets the other traffic that you had to pay good money for to get to your site in the first place that costs $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $20 a click to convert at a higher rate. Hypothetically speaking here, if your campaign makes $100,000 a year in sales pretty consistently as it runs now, you do the strategy as I'm mentioning here, specifically just this first one where you're going to control what people see when someone types in your brand name plus review or reviews. You can add 10 to 30% more premium or revenue on top of what you have already, so that 100,000 will be 110,000 to 130,000 pretty consistently just by taking advantage of what I'm showing you here. So you can look at it 2 ways. You can look at what the stats show that campaign produces, which is one way to look at it. Another is you look at the overall sales you have coming in. And when I'm more specifically about that, look at your cart sales, where they're at, execute on this, and because it actually will make all the traffic you have coming in work better. So a better way to look at it even yet is to say, my cart sales are averaging 100 grand a month. I'm executing on this, and now I'm going to be averaging 110 to 130,000 because I've got this tacked on to my overall online marketing strategy for my company, okay? So that's pretty cool right there in itself. If you add on to that the second one here, which is if somebody types in your product name plus review, and you got to do it for each product for this to effectively work, or the name of the service if you coin a specific name to each service you have, and given that it's unique enough that where you can do that, and it's not the same name as a million other products out there, you do that, you show up on your, under Google for each time someone does that in your market. You can add another 10 to 50% on top of this 10 to 30% I mentioned already before. So there's a bunch more volume you can get from all your other traffic sources doing this. Also, the second one, which will have 1,000% ROI typically, pretty easily. But what it can do for you is make sure that you can go from basically 100 grand a month in cart sales to 150 because I executed on this fully all the way using the all the way method that I'm going to explain here in a moment. which takes some time to set up, but I'm telling you what the results are here up front so you can justify it to yourself. Most people don't try stuff because they don't know how much it matters. Well, I'm telling you how much it matters, so you have no excuse now. But so basically, you have a great opportunity then to, you have a 10-to-1 return on your ads right now overall, but if you spend more, you only have an 8-to-1 return, okay? So you're kind of stuck. Well, you do this, you get to now you have, instead of a 10-to-1 return, you have a 15-to-1 return, whatever. Now you can go ahead and do stuff, bring new traffic streams in that just wouldn't work before. Or what you have, just bid a little bit more aggressively, and a lot of times that doesn't mean, just a little bit more sales, like you hit a unlocking with it. So instead of, being able to do a little bit more, you can double the amount of traffic you have at the ROI that you're looking for, if you follow me here. So anyway, that should be, hopefully that makes sense for you. There's two different ways to look at this, okay? If you want to do, if you want to make it easy on yourself, you should be looking at how overall sales in your company trends, not just the stats inside your ad account, because in your ad account, unless you're selling products for like less than $100, it will always be less than what the actual effect of what the impact on your sales is, because a lot of people don't buy right away. They wait till they get paid, they wait till they talk to their wife, whatever. So looking at your overall sales is what a pro would do. And so with that, easier way to know that this is what the full impact of what this is going to do for you as well is look at the overall sales before and after you've executed on it. Assuming you're not doing anything else major at the time, you'll be able to see that and justify it more so to yourself that way. Even though you shouldn't have, even if I look at this, the front end stats of that, because the person's so close to purchase when they're looking for a review, the front end stats on that campaign will be pretty good as well. So I just wanted to throw that kind of side note to the whole thing in here, because not that it's really important to justify doing this for yourself here, but it is an additional thing that you should consider, and extra benefit to it that will justify you going out and doing all the effort to execute on this, like I'm describing here. Anyway, moving forward, number 3. Now, a lot of people don't think about this, but when somebody's looking for a review from your competitor, that's like the perfect person to target. Instead of looking for somebody who's just looking for that product or service you sell, why not get the people the closest as possible to whipping out their wallet and buying? And that would be somebody looking for a review on that product, because most of the time when they do that, they want to buy it. And they're just trying to do last-second research to justify making sure that they should buy it. We're going to steal that customer away from that person or client. And we'll have an ad then that shows up for competitor, then review, or competitor, then reviews. And so that we'll redirect them to, which is what I'm going to mention in a minute, which is going to be a review of your product. So your ad's going to mention that you have an amazing review on your product, and if you haven't seen your product yet, you should check it out. And then so the person that's already in the mood and actually cares about reviews, now you're just going to get them to look at your review, realize your review is better than anything they're going to find on review-wise on the competitor, and in that situation, you're going to get the sale. They're not. It may be not even a better review, but better laid out review, easier to access review. It obviously helps if your actually product's better or service is better. This will work even better for you. But even if it's similar, just the fact that you're allowing somebody to go to something that has a long form review, which they can't necessarily find with a competitor, you would be surprised how much that works. So, and with it, you don't have to have a different funnel for each competitor. You could do one for all these different competitors. Once it works for one competitor, it works for them all. This is different, by the way, as well as competitor campaigns. If somebody's typing your competitor name but not using review along with it, I'm going to send people to a product comparison page on my site that I custom craft, or just send them onto the product or service page itself, the sales page, if you will, on my site. I am not going to send them to a review. But specifically where they're looking for competitor review, it doesn't work to send them onto the product page. The quality score will be so crap that your cost per click will go so high, it really won't work. But if you send them onto a review, what they're after anyway, and has way higher potential because they're way farther down in the sales funnel at that time, you can make the thing work and work extremely well. So that's a third way that you can use review keywords to make money in your market, using this information in this video to your advantage. The fourth of which is a similar one to that. Competitor, and then the name of the competitor's product, and then review. Or the competitor's brand name, and then the product name, and then reviews after it. So in other words, they're looking for a specific review on a competitor's product, or name of a product, a competitor's specific service, okay? So with that, of course, you can actually send them to the same place you send them here on number 3, assuming that you just have one product and they have one product. Otherwise, I will tell you up front that if they have a product that's similar to one specific product that you have, well, you got to be sending them onto a review that's the equivalent product. Otherwise, this isn't going to get you 1,000% ROI. Sorry, it might get you a big enough ROI that you can still justify doing it, but this isn't about half efforting it. Yes, 1,000% sounds like a lot, but you have to put the effort in to do this for your consumer. However, again, going back here, if you create a review for each product that you have, well, it's just playing mix and match. Okay, this competitor's product goes with this one. Okay, we'll send them to this review, and this competitor's product is the equivalent to what I have here for the same item. So really, it's just you have to create, again, a review, a place to send this for the end consumer to go see a review for each product or service you have, and then for each other competitor product or services, you can decide which of the one is most relevant there, and then you'll get the big 1,000% ROI on each click that you get from each one of those places where people are looking for the competitor product or service review individually by itself, okay? So in other words, in a nutshell, as many clicks as you can get from anybody who types in your brand or your product and then review, or your competitor's product and then review, or service then review, the better, because these are massively profitable. Again, but with the caveat that you have to do it the right way. And I'm going to talk about what is the right way that actually, if you just don't want to reinvent the wheel, the turnkey way that would work virtually every time, and which these returns I'm mentioning here are based upon. So anyway, getting into that next. So there's good, better, and best here. I'm not recommending you do good, but you technically could get, in a lot of markets, it to work with the good. The good is, I'm sure you've seen it many times, affiliates often use this, where they'll use like a top 10 list. They'll make a website, and it'll be like top 10 mattresses. The person selling the mattress, the one mattress brand that they have, will put their own mattress as number 1. So it's kind of, gray area stuff, right? And then 2 through 10 is the competitors, and they're hoping that they'll just click through on the first one, and then they'll think, oh, it's rated number 1. Like a fake review site, if you just want to call it that. So I'm not advocating faking anybody out. I'm just saying it's technically not fake. You're just reviewing your own product, so it is gray area. But if you send people that type in your company or your product name and then reviews, and then send them onto a page like that, that doesn't make it clearly apparent that you're the one who owns the site. This works okay, but not the best, okay? A much better option would be to use an industry review site, which is under better I have here. Industry review site meaning if you're in a niche that's big enough, like mattresses, there's a site, a guy whose business is just reviewing mattresses, okay? Several of them in that market. It's hard to get it reviewed, but I promise you, whatever you need to do to get it reviewed, as long as you obviously know you're going to get a good review still, doesn't have to be the best review, but a good one. They'll write an in-depth article there on your site or on their site. You can get one, and it's much, much better to send people looking for a review of your product or for your brand to that industry review site, because it has so much more credibility than these top 10 sites that some people are going to fall for, but not as many as you think, which is what this is about. If they're looking for a review, they're looking for. Here's really the mindset is, I want to buy, and I want to, as quickly as possible, know that this company, what they're saying is not BS. And if you give them a good enough reason, so they're not trying to go to the end of the earth here looking for reasons not to buy. They already want to buy. They just want a little bit more assurance. So the better job you do, the more people that will do it quicker, sooner than later, and the longer it takes them to make that decision, the less people who buy, the more will get distracted to go to the competitor site and see an ad from them, or just not do anything at all, say they're going to come back to it later and just never do it. They procrastinate. Procrastination is the killer of a lot of, or most sales. So you want to do that. Yes, it's more hassle, but if you want to do it right, do that. But if you want to do it the best, which is really what I recommend here, you're going to get an influencer. So everybody has heard and knows of influencer marketing, but what they normally don't do is they don't get the influencer to review the product. I mentioned on another video, we had a influencer campaign where we would have a hair regrowth product, and the influencer would review the product physically, and it was a bunch of work. Just saying influencer uses the product or mentions it in a video or a blog post isn't very great. They actually, a influencer uses it and reviews it in long form format and reviews it well. That is like super, super potent as far as, like I was describing before, get that person who wants to have you or anybody or just in general tell them that this is not they're not being fooled here and that they can go ahead and finish their purchase. This is the best way to do it. Actually, one step further above that would be somebody like a news site that reviewed the product, but that's so difficult. We'll just not even assume that. Or if you had like a Forbes somehow wrote an article on your company, I would send them there over the influencer. But this influencer review, it can be a blog post. It's just somebody who's just a blogger, but their business is just blogging, or a YouTube influencer who just does a YouTube channel, and they may not only do reviews. Actually, I don't even recommend that. Once in a while, they'll do a review, or maybe they don't do any, but you're just going to send them the product, they're going to review it. And so you'll have a dedicated page or video to send the person to. Technically, it could be an Instagram post if you wanted to, or a Facebook post if you wanted to. I'd say the video or the blog post will work better because you can go super in depth, which is what gets the person to trust it more. Because they start reading the page or the video and they get so far into it, and like I was saying before, they don't want to have to go to the ends of the earth here. They're like, holy crap. This person not only well reviewed it, but they're talking 20 minutes about how good it is. Okay, I'll close this window, I'm done. I'm going to go finish, checking out now. So that's the best option. That's going to get you the most results out of everything that you could send them to. So or just to sum this up, you advertise when somebody types in your brand name and then review, you're going to have an ad that says, so-and-so influencer reviewed the product, see what they said about the product. You don't even have to say it was reviewed very, very well, because guess what? I found a higher click-through rate if you leave it up, because if it sounds too good right off the bat, they're questioning it. So it's not, I don't want to say guaranteed to be the case every single time, but we want as many clicks as we can, and they definitely recommend that you say that they reviewed it, this highly respected person reviewed it, see what they said. It's like, it's mysterious. You send them to the video, again, they watch some of it, you make sure that what the summary of the review is at the beginning of the video, and most people watch just a little bit further than that and then they'll leave. And so you're going to send them there, okay? Or if it's a blog post, same flow there, okay? And then the competitor, if they're typing in your competitor name and then review, you're going to do the same thing. If you have a competitor who, in general, if they're typing in the competitors, they want a review of a specific competitor's product, you'll have an ad that says and you can mix this up, but basically, similar to XYZ product was reviewed, or top industry influencer reviews XYZ product is better than XYZ product, which was the product they were searching for. See what they said. So the idea is They know that there's a product just like the product that they're getting ready to buy, and they're interested in a review, and it's like, maybe I should click on that because maybe that person's going to tell me something about what I've seen that's going to warn me not to finish my purchase, because that's what I'm actually looking for the review for in the first place. And then as they get to now you got them, because once they get to your review and you start to talk about the product, and the product's identical almost, and then that product has a good review, yeah, they could go back to Google and search for reviews. Chances are, though, they're just gonna you've got their attention enough at that point to redirect to looking into your product. And then when they get to the point where they have to trust it or not trust it, they're already past the part of that because they've seen your review now. But not only that, you're going to have other reviews that is going to make it seem like there's a consensus on your company that your company is the best. Okay? So how do you do that actually? Now this is kind of gray hat stuff here. It's not illegal, okay? Multiple accounts. Now, remember I said you want to get as many clicks as possible because this stuff's super high converting. Instead of having, when somebody types in your competitor product and then review, and you having, say, top industry influencer reviews your product versus the whatever they were searching for product, see what they said, that's going to be one thing that's going to try to flag that person down and get them to just stop. You're just redirecting them, distracting them so they don't finish their purchase with that person. But that's just one that you can do. Now you get 3 other ad accounts and you have the first, second, third, and fourth ad spots all with different pitches. They redirect that person's attention. So another one could be, before you buy X, see the review that compares this product versus the product you were looking for, which is another spin on it. Another one could be just more so like a straightforward thing. Top rated 4 horsepower CNC 4-axis lathe crushes competition, which, what they were looking for was, the same exact specs and the product as that. So you're not outright saying it's being compared to that product that they were originally searching for, but right? So it's different enough from the other two that it doesn't look like the same person's doing this. Another one is just saying you put your product name bolt in the fourth maybe option there. Your product name reviewed inside and out on YouTube video or something. So there's different levels of approaches there where you're saying versus, there's a comparative, this product itself by name is being reviewed, you get my point. So you do all that, and then as this person is typing in your competitor's name and product name and then reviews after it, they have to go past 4 different ads that has really good ad copy that really makes you question, like, maybe I should be looking at that before I buy, because they're looking for anything that would tip them off, and then you're just basically saying like danger, danger, danger to distract them, because fear is going to be the most effective motivator there. And they're going to have to scroll down past it. And some people won't read it, but a bunch will. And all you got to do, if 1 doesn't get them, 2 will. 2 doesn't get them, 3 will. And a different one will get different people based upon their personality. In the end, you don't promote the same review there. You get 4 reviews. Each one directs to a different review from a different person. Even if that person now goes back to Google and they're like, oh, I'm going to finish what I was doing and look for that competitor product's review, there's a good chance they'll click on another review that was another ad and then see another review by you. So it looks like now there's a consensus saying out in the public in your industry that your product's like the best reviewed by far, and therefore it's the lowest risk. Why they're looking for the review is to mitigate any insecure feeling of risk that they may, because everybody hates getting taken advantage of. You've all bought a product, got it, and feel like the company screwed you over, and it's too late to get a refund, and everybody's got that. So they're just trying to avoid that from happening to them. And really, all you need is any good reason for them to just doubt themselves just a little bit more than they should, and they're not going to buy it, at least until they've thought about it more. And the fact that you have an amazingly reviewed product, even if you said nothing negative about that competitor's product itself, maybe it's a fine product, that also puts doubt in people's mind, which is why this strategy works so well. So multiple accounts, it's not illegal to do this. You can have 4 different ad accounts promoting 4 different domains. There's no problem with it, okay? And a lot of people think, why would I promote a YouTube video that's on some other influencer's channel when I could be sending traffic to my site? When people are looking for the reviews, they're not looking to go to your product. They want to see a review. And if you put the review on your site, they won't believe it nearly as much as if it's on another site. What people believe about what somebody else says about you versus what you say about yourself is 4 times as strong and believable. Even if you were to be able to take that review that the influencer gave you, put it on a page of your own site and then send people to that, that's still not going to work as good as sending them directly under the review, because their guard is not going to be up. They're not going to be thinking, is this fake? Is it not fake? If you send them directly onto the YouTube review and the ad does not indicate that you had sent the product to them for free to get them to review it, which is fine, you just can't incentivize for the good review, right? Then they'll see the review and they'll think it's their idea that they found you. And any good salesperson will tell you, the best salesman out there can make the person think it's their own idea while they're buying. You're not convincing, you're simply priming the situation so they think it's their own idea, and they want your products, because then you can try to talk them out of it and they will fight you at that point. So this is what this is really all about. So anyway, that's the whole strategy in a nutshell. If you want the 1,000% ROI, you have to go to this level, okay? And 1,000% ROI, at minimum, you're going to want to go with this better or best options that I gave you here, okay? Good, I don't stand behind that. These kind of returns, it's going to be, no. Now, here's an extra bonus for you, okay? If you add remarketing to what you just did, and you might as well, because you do all this work, you invest money to get the reviews, it might take you months to get this all set up for their search campaigns, to take advantage of the opportunity there. First of all, you do Google, then you're going to do Bing, okay? But then also, once you've done that, you can do remarketing display ads on Google Display Network. And if Google Display Network won't take your remarketing ads, you do ad roll, which is a nice little hack workaround that generally works for our clients when they're in medical or something and they can't do remarketing through Google Display Network. And Facebook, if Facebook will allow it, remarketing there. And so what you do is you just package up the reviews that you now paid and earned at these other sites into the ad, and then you do the same thing. Whatever you would have normally kind of did on that search ad when somebody typed in, your brand name and then a review, or competitor product name, then a review, you have that same message there in the ad, and then you redirect them to the influencer that gave you the review, okay? So they think that this is their own, they found it themselves, right? And so it just amplifies this whole thing and gets you a few more clicks. Each click is worth so much that the more you get, the more sales you're going to make. And in general, if they've seen it on Google, and then later on, 2 days later, they see another review, and they think, man, this product here, I can't believe I didn't find it before. They got great reviews everywhere. They again think they found this and thought of it themselves. It amplifies the individual review. It's not 1 + 1 now. It's 1 time, well, it's 1 squared. We'll just put it that. I guess the 1 squared is still not the right thing to mention. Instead of 1 + 1 = 2, it's 1 + 1 = 3, really, because the one review worked great, but because they now saw 2, there's an amplification. You're going to get more than just the sum of the 2 parts. And if they see 3 reviews, it's the same thing, and it keeps compounding. So each review you get, you put into a different ad, and you get it in front of them during that normal sales cycle window where people evaluate the purchase. And unless they're buying a broom for 20 bucks, you could remarket for 3 to 6 months in the future, because all kinds of people delay and they procrastinate and they go wait to get paid. So anyway, they saw it on Google, they saw the review, they got a phone call, later on, day later goes by, now they see the review for the same review or a different review, they see it, then another 3 days go by and they see another review, and then another 3 days, another review. At that point, even if they don't buy from the review itself, when they actually do buy, which normally they'll then go to Google and type in your brand name when they go to finally purchase, because this is the normal process for people that are coming back, you're the first person they think of. When people buy, they think they're going to mainly go with who they trust in most markets. Whoever they trust is the person they think that because they thought of you first, you must be the most trusted. When really all you did was primed the pump of them understanding your brand name first out of all others, because you did such a good job remarketing to them there and showing up at the end of the process where you know they're going to make a purchase, so that you invested your time and your money into the process, so that when they did have to say, oh crap, I got to buy today, I can't procrastinate anymore, you're the first person they think of instantly. You get the purchase instead of somebody else then. Whereas they would have only went with the competitor before, you've now interjected yourself at the very end of the sales process, and you're getting the sale, not them. So anyway, that's the whole kind of strategy in a nutshell, targeting review keywords. If you like this video, I have a ton of other videos on this channel about other PPC money-making strategies with other online advertising as well. You should check those out if you have not seen any of my other videos. I have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog, which has step-by-step instructions on how to build campaigns like this that I use to guarantee results on our clients' campaigns. If you prefer info like that, I have it there. You may enjoy that as well. Apart from that, if you have any questions or comments, things that you think I should have covered here and didn't, leave me a comment down below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel within a day or 2. Hope you enjoyed the content I gave you here today and it inspired you to go out and do this. Make yourself some good coin on the next action and amount of effort you put in on your PPC campaigns you're trying to run today, or the first ones that you run for yourself using this information.